Hi, everybody. Have a look at Bill Maher, the US talk show host, talking about the moral bankruptcy that is going on across college campuses. In some ways, it seems the more prestigious you go, the more morally bankrupt they become. Have a look at what he says. And particularly, of course, he was saying this in the aftermath of the October 7th massacre and the response that was seen on many college campuses, the justification of this great evil. Have a look at what he says, and then I'll elaborate a bit.
And finally, new rule: as an Ivy League graduate who knows the value of a liberal education, I have one piece of advice for the youth of America. Don't go to college. And if you absolutely have to go, don't go to an elite college, because as recent events have shown, it just makes you stupid. There are few, if any, positives to come out of what happened in Israel, but one of them is opening America's eyes to how higher education has become indoctrination into a stew of bad ideas, among them the simplistic notion that the world is a binary place where everyone is either an oppressor or oppressed. In the case of Israel, oppressors being babies and bubbas. The same students who will tell you that words are violence and silence is violence were very supportive when Hamas terrorists went on a rape and murder rampage worthy of the Vikings. They knew where to point the fingers at the murdered, and then it was off to ethics class. Now, I recognize that a certain amount of foolishness is expected of college kids, but mixing Jägermeister and tomato juice isn't the same as siding with terrorists. 34 student groups at Harvard signed a letter that said the apartheid regime is the only one to blame, proving they don't know what constitutes apartheid. They don't know much of anything, actually. But it doesn't deter them from having an opinion. They've convinced themselves Israel is the most repressive regime in history because they have no knowledge of history, or even a desire to know it.
He makes some really important points here. You know, one of the few things that I've been grateful for in the aftermath of October 7th has been that we've started to get clarity. That before October 7th, perhaps we were a little bit more convinced that maybe some people that would justify all the nonsense and, you know, the Palestinian side and the way they've acted, they would try to say, oh, come on, but it's, you know, there's two sides to it all, and there's, you know, we have to understand why the terrorism's going on and all that. And frankly, when we saw that people in these camps were prepared to justify, even celebrate what Hamas did on October 7th, made us realize that actually these people are utterly morally bankrupt and totally devoid of wisdom. And whether it's like, you know, seeing how UNRWA, the UN agency for the Palestinians, had employees that were directly involved in the October 7th attacks. Whether we see the way the world reacted when there was a bomb that hit a car park in one of the hospitals in Gaza, and the world went crazy at Israel, only to find out that it was actually from Palestinian Islamic Jihad, a rocket from them. And then suddenly they go all quiet. We've been given a lot of clarity this time round about the truth and about how the rage towards Israel is actually not to do with any kind of empathy for the Palestinians, but rather it's just about rage against the Jews. And this is a good thing. This is a good development because it means we can start to see things for what they are. We've been seeing how a lot of the great Western idols, be it the intellectual institutions and colleges, or the media, or sports culture, or celebrity culture, all our great institutions that have been unable to state basic truths and basic moral truths. It's been an awakening. It's been for those whose eyes are opened, and it seems like Bill is trying to open his eyes. These idols are collapsing, and we're realizing that without a bit of divine wisdom, there is no wisdom. And places that are devoid of God and His morality, you end up with moral bankruptcy. Intellect is not enough to create moral human beings. Now you may come and say, well, come on, look at religion. Look, religion in some ways justified what happened, was the source of what happened on October 7th. Yes, religion has also in many cases gone wrong. But we, the Jewish people, we're not a religion. We are, or at least we have a particular type of teaching when it comes to God and godliness, which is not about religion, which is often about here's what I do to get to heaven. We teach that we celebrate life here, and our job is to make this world, this life better, to bring God and introduce him into earth. Often religion is about the other way around, trying to get to heaven. And so, yes, some religion can be seriously bad and seriously toxic, but we as Jews believe that we have had a role throughout history, and even more so today, to introduce God's morality to this world. And we've made quite a bit of progress, actually. We've made progress. Many of the values in the world today are better, quite a lot better than they were in prior times. Whether it's the belief in, from a lot of people, world peace as an ideal, justice and equality before the law, family values, the dignity of the individual, the sanctity of human life, the importance of social responsibility, looking after the poor, the weak, the vulnerable. These are ideas first articulated by the Jewish people. The other great pillars of Western civilization, the Greeks and the Romans, did not practice these ideas. And we introduced them, but the Judaism and the Jewish people have a lot more to do. And I, for one, am grateful to have this clarity that we're not really going to get moral teaching and moral code from other places. Rather, we as a Jewish people have to step up into our role as God's chosen people, which does not mean superior or inferior. It simply means we have a job to teach his morality and his ethics and his need for how the world should be to the rest of the world. So let's do it. I'm Ollie Annisfeld and you're watching JTV.